really care about the attitude concerning the Rose Bowl. I'm going to stir up a little Rose Bowl hype because I still love the bowl games. And of course, the Rose Bowl is the granddaddy of them all, I believe. Yes. So
they've said
there's got to be some players that this is a big game for them in terms of springboard into 22. What do you think, Steve, for the Buckeyes?
Yeah, I think Jackson Smith, the Jigba, first off, Travion Henderson, those two guys, CJ Stroud, the third guy, all three of them could be highlighted offensively in this game on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, maybe Steele Chambers with a month to really kind of hone in on what he's doing at linebacker would be that guy. Maybe Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau will have a big game in the Rose Bowl to wrap up their freshman year. Denzel Burke has had a bang-up first year at cornerback. So you got a lot of younger guys that are positioning themselves to be all Big Ten players in 2022. And will they play like that in this game? I think that's the question that we're waiting to get answered. So I'll be tuning in. I'll be there if they allow us to go and watch it in person. I'll be there. So I'm looking forward to that. And I just think that this game psychologically just means a lot. And in terms of just the climate around this program as they go into an intensive 9-month training period to prepare for 2022, it's just better to go into that with everybody smiling and happy as opposed to everybody, kind of growling at, what got to get out of bed at 5 o'clock this morning. Heck, we couldn't even beat Utah. What difference does it make? That type of thing. So I don't know. We'll see how they approach it.
I think you look at the positions of where these potential opt-outs could be happening and look at the guys in there. If you don't have Garrett Wilson, what does that mean for Julian Fleming? That's going to be huge for him. If you don't have Haskell Garrett, who steps into that role? Do we see more Tyleik Williams in the rotation? If you don't have NPF, I mean, how do they deal with that rotation on the stupid cat? How do they deal with the rotation on the line? I mean, do you sit there? That would be a hell of an opportunity to be able to slide somebody outside. What does that mean for Donovan Jackson, who's kind of been sitting there he's not been in the Matt Jones role, who's been that emergency alert 5 offensive lineman, but does Donovan Jackson become that guy at that point? So, I think all the names that Steve mentioned are 100% truth, but I think that you look at the guys too that would be stepping up a rung on the ladder based on these opt-outs if they come to fruition.
Yeah, I'm with you on there. Tyleik Williams, Jack Sawyer, a couple of names. Julian Fleming, if there is no Garrett Wilson. I've almost forgot one of the greatest Ohio State receivers of all time. But that's kind of the fun of it is if you don't want to play, there are other guys who do, and those guys need an opportunity to show what they can do. I'm just trying to imagine what this offense does with if Jackson Smith and Jigba is like your number one target, and I mean, is he looking at 15 catches again in the Rose Bowl or something like that? And then I wonder what happens with him next year. Does he stay in the slot, which I think he should? There's going to be some moving parts that probably don't get solved in the Rose Bowl, but I'm looking to see what these young defensive guys do to try to make an impression on Jim Knowles. And maybe what the old guys who are returning next year do to try to make an impression on Jim Knowles, because there are going to be some veterans who come back, but that doesn't mean their job should be held for them or safe for them. Jim Knowles is going to see brand new guys all over the field. Everybody's going to be new to him, and that's going to allow him to have maybe a clearer vision over maybe some of the coaches who stay. Who knows how many coaches stay? But it's going to give them two different perspectives on which players should be playing. So I think these young guys and everybody's really going to just really want to put their best foot forward. If they're playing, then you better play well because there are brand new eyes on you. And if you play half-assed, that's going to be the first impression a coach has of you.
That's all right, Tony. We expect you to give us the Roy Halls of the world from the past and dig up those names. So we'll take care of the superstars, the three of us. One last thing here. Is this a big game for Ryan Day in that? And I don't want to overplay this by any stretch because he's secure. He's fine. He's got a great program and he's continuing to build on it. So it's not just a hand me down from Urban Meyer. He's more than maintaining it. But Urban Meyer righted the ship instantly if there was a disappointment about a playoff appearance. Fiesta Bowl against Notre Dame, USC Cotton Bowl, Rose Bowl, Washington. You know, those were all near misses of a playoff, and bam, he got that team focused, and they took care of business in the postseason. Ryan Day loses a Rose Bowl coming off a Michigan loss. Oh, yeah, Urban Meyer 7-0 against Michigan. Might be some people that are a bit disgruntled about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces and parts there. I mean, perception, what does that really mean? All that matters is if you can recruit and put quality teams on the field. You know, I don't know. They're going to sell season tickets and people are going to watch them whether they win or lose this game or not. So, I don't know. I mean, as I said, about the only positive that comes out of winning this game is that they have the energy, you know, coming out of this, that, you know, it's not drudgery. You didn't lose your last two games, although they lost the last two games in 2013 and came back and won the national championship in 2014. So take that for whatever it's worth. I think you have a potential national championship team on your hands with C.J. Stroud and Jackson Smith-Njigba and Travion Henderson, with the proviso that they are able to go into the transfer portal and get a couple impact defensive linemen or defensive players. I think I've talked about this. One lineman, one linebacker who you're going to pencil in are going to play about 70, 80% of the plays and make plays and have an impact. Because even with a year of development, I'm not convinced the guys they have are going to win a national championship in 2022. So I just put my cards on the table. I mean, that's my feeling. You know, I've watched them play, and I just didn't see anything special there. So I know, get a year with Coach Mick, come back and see me. Add 10 pounds. You know, drop a tenth of a second on your 40 time, whatever it is. You know, whatever. You know, increase your bench press 40 pounds, whatever, your squat, whatever. You know, get incrementally better. Study film, get in a better scheme, et cetera, et cetera. But to me, what they need, you know, and this is kind of what the overarching thing is, win or lose this game is, you know, on that day it'll be important, and after that it'll just be filed away. To me, it's more about where does this position you going toward 2022? And to me, I think they besides scheme, they need upgrades. They need personnel upgrades if they expect to win the national championship.
I'm a big believer in the psychology behind things. So, you know, I approach this maybe a little differently than Steve does. I think it's important to win. You've had your toughness called into question. You've had Michigan coaches pop off on you. Hell, you've had Mike Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 50, you know, pop off on you, just, you know, playing off of that stuff. I think it's important to come out and play well and be able to have that good launching point going into the 22 season, to feel good about yourselves going into mat drills and going into the dog days of having to grind. So, you know, I think it is kind of important because you look at a Ryan Day career that's not faced a ton of adversity. I mean, sure, they don't have any natties to show for it, and Lord knows I've seen enough of that on social media. There should be some national championship trophies, you know, associated to Ryan Day. But you know, how does he handle this adversity? How does this team bounce back? How do they adjust? And I understand that we're going to see different pieces and different faces in different places in 22, but I think I put a lot of importance in this game. I mean, not as much as I would a college football playoff game, but for a meaningless exhibition, I think there's some meaning to it.
Yeah, I agree. I go back to the 2013-2014 season after Ohio State had lost 3 of 4 games, and there were tons of questions surrounding Urban Meyer year 2 after winning 12 games in a row, then to lose 3 of 4, which was unheard of. And yeah, things turned around, but it's better to win than to lose. I think we can all agree there. But win or lose, once winter workouts start, like I'm siding with both of you here. Yeah, the Rose Bowl is over, but it's better to have left with on a good footing, and then you have that proof. Like we showed them that sort of thing. They called us soft. We showed them, and there's the testimony versus theory, which we talk about sometimes here, where they by showing that they weren't soft, there's some testimony there. Thinking that they're not soft, that's theory. And they prove the theory, and now it becomes testimony. And that's something that Ryan Day can then lean on, and the players have the experience of that for next season. And it just gives you that experience of winning a tough game. People doubt you, even though Vegas doesn't, but the people do. And that's something that Ryan Day can latch onto and the players can latch onto, because it sure sounds like there's some anger going on in the Woody right now. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But they were probably angry before the Michigan game, too. And look what happened. You got to prove it.